March 12th, 2024. Roll call.
Gale's here.
Marshall here.
Guzekowski is here.
Arnaki here.
Segal here.
Okay. Approval of minutes from 2/13/24. Any changes or corrections that you noticed? Nothing?
Gale move to approve minutes of February 13th, 2024.
Zarnecki, second.
Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Segal, aye.
Review common council actions related to public works and capital assets. Is that you, Andrew?
Yeah, not too much. We've really only had one short common council meeting since your last meeting, so nothing to report for this item.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Number 5, consider a motion to approve the agreement between the city of Oak Creek and Bruce. I was looking at this yesterday. Is that NEMI or NEMI? NEMI? To purchase the sale of sculptures in the amount of $48,000. Is that you, Andrew?
Yes, thanks, Alderman Guzekowski. So in our strategic action plan for the community, we have some goals wishing to advance public art, wayfinding, and other placemaking initiatives. We assembled a team a couple years ago to begin looking into that. You may recall the Canvas project that we did, which was really popular. But one of the other early opportunities was the statuary at Drexel Town Square. So we contacted local artists and determined that instead of outright purchasing to begin with, we'd get a kind of dip our toe in the water into this and lease it for a couple years. Fast forward to 2 years later, we had a reach out from the artist, and they're wishing to liquidate and wondered when we would make a decision on if we were going to purchase or not. And they gave us a discount. So we're bringing this to the board for your consideration to keep the fixtures in the statuary in Drexel Town Square. It's been pretty well received. I don't know if any feedback, but I think it's a nice addition.
I agree.
It's all subjective, but. Yeah, so we would be using funds from tax increment district number 11, which is Drexel Town Square.
The TIF, right?
The TIF, yep.
Any thoughts or comments or questions? No? I think it's worth the investment. Anyone have a motion?
Marshall moved to approve an agreement between the city of Oak Creek and Bruce A. Nemi for the purchase and sale of sculptures in the amount of $48,000.
Segal, seconds.
Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Segal, aye.
Number 6, consider a motion to award the West Rawson Avenue Water Relay and Hydrant Relocation Project construction contract to the lowest responsible bidder, UPI, based on the bid amount of $431,976,000.
So this project is to do some water main work, move hydrants out of the way of the county's highway project, and we're replacing a stretch of problematic water main for us down there, 20-inch ductile iron. It's been in there for quite some time. We've had numerous breaks on it. The original project, 2022, when it was put in the capital budget, was to include a stretch from 10th Street to 6th Street, replace all of that main. We've since reevaluated it, and now we're looking at just doing a stretch east of the railroad tracks to 6th Street. That's the most problematic piece that we've had. And then, of course, the 11 hydrants have to relocate that. Project went out to bid, and UPI was the low bidder at $431,976.
Or questions? Pretty straightforward.
Like, just to clarify, so you said in 2022, 782,000 was for 6 to 10?
Yes, sir.
But this project is from how old to 13?
Oh, no, does it say that in here?
Yes.
Oh, well, the county project is from Howell to 13th. But we're only looking at water main work within the 6th to 10th originally
Okay.
area. Yeah, and now east of the railroad tracks. And
And then
actually,
All
that,
the hydrants.
yes. So the
Gotcha.
781 in 2022 was anticipated to be from 6th to 10th. There's no way we could get that project done for that money now. That's part of the reason why we're looking at making the project a little bit smaller.
Makes sense to me. Comments or questions or not motion?
Gail move to award the West Rosslyn Avenue Water Relay and Hydrant Relocation Project construction contract to the lowest responsible bidder, UPI Inc., based on the bid amount of $431,976.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Gail, aye.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnacki, aye.
Sigali, aye.
Okay. Number 7, consider a motion to award the Sixth Street Water Relay project construction contract to the lowest responsible bidder. Globe Contractors, based in a bid amount of $249,060, and amend the capital improvement budget in the amount of $300,000 for construction.
On this project, there is a bridge that's going to be replaced. We're moving the water main outside of that bridge construction area. That's really all that's happening here. Back in 2023, we had design money for a larger Sixth Street project at $350,000. Some of that has been spent on design already. But in 2024, we reduced that budget to $50,000, which is what was needed for the design to complete. Because we're not going to do that larger project any longer. We're looking at a smaller project. So this really is the successor to that project, but because we defunded, now we'll have to go back and do a budget amendment to include this. And again, this is just getting the water main out of the way of the bridge project. We will also do a sanitary project that'll come as part of the bridge. It'll be included in the bridge project contract, so we'll be doing something in the future on that. This is just water.
Comments or questions? Pretty straightforward. If not a motion.
Zarnacki will make a motion to award the South Sixth Street Water Relay Project construction contract to the lowest responsible bidder, Globe Contractors, based on the bid amount of $249,060, and amend the capital improvement budget in the amount of $300,000 for construction.
Marshall will second.
Roll call.
Gail, aye.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnacki, aye.
Sigali, aye.
Number 8, consider a motion to consider and award the Orchard Way Reservoir Mixer Award to Pax Water Technologies.
So this project, our 6 million gallon reservoir out near Puce and 27th Street, we try and move the water in the tower. So looking at my water bottle, we don't want the water to stratify within that column. Heat causes the water to stratify. We start losing chlorine residual. We start impacting water quality out there. So we always want to keep the water moving. It's the same thing with our elevated storage as well. But Puce Road being so large, or that reservoir out there, Orchard Way Reservoir, being so large, it's much more difficult to do that. So we're going deeper and deeper into the reservoir, pumping the water out of it, putting water back into it in order to try and keep that water fresh, and reduce the disinfection byproducts and all sorts of other water quality issues surrounding that. But what that does to us is effectively reduces the amount of water that we can use. So one way to fix that is to create some mixing within the reservoir. We looked at 2 different products. One required 2 different mixers. This product requires only 1 mixer. We can put it right in the center. Seems like a pretty elegant way of handling those water quality issues, and lets us use the full use of the water that's stored there, both for operations and for fire protection. So that's what this one is. The project is there. The cost is $47,490. The budget is higher at $100,000, partly because we weren't exactly sure what these mixers were going to cost, but also because we know there needs to be controls, SCADA type things that need to be put into the pump station to control the mixer. That's not included here yet. This will be done this year when the tower is required, or reservoir is required to be taken out of service for a dry inspection. So it's a good time to put the mixer in.
This is actually a physical device.
Yeah,
What's it say?
it sits on a little tripod, and it's just a little screw in the center of it that mixes the water. Creates that constant action going on.
Something of that scale, it seems small money.
Yeah, but there's no controls or SCADA yet.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah, we'll put the controls in.
when are you going to do that?
That'll, at the time of installation, then we'll start running the wires over to the pump station and do the controls that way. We'll have someone separate doing that work. It won't be these.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only about that tall. They're not very tall. They sit on a little tripod and there's a little screw in the top of it, and but it's constantly moving, so it's able to circulate that water. The thought originally with the reservoir was with water coming in and out of the same pipe, that you'd be able to create sort of a natural movement in there, and that just didn't occur. Yes, sir.
So how much control do you need on it?
Well, we need to monitor that it is working and how much energy it's using.
When can we expect to see that other half of it?
Oh, the other half of the work? I think we're doing this, I don't think it's scheduled yet. It'll either be spring or fall. I don't think we're gonna get it done yet, spring here, so probably fall we'll be doing this construction. So that's when we'll see the rest of that work coming back.
Any other questions or comments? Motion.
Marshall move to award the Orchard Way Reservoir Mixer Award to Pax Water Technologies based on the bid amount of $47,490.
Gale, second.
Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye?
Sigali, aye.
Alrighty, number 9, consider a motion to enter an agreement with Dorner Company for the replacement of 8 shut-off valves for 22nd Street Booster Station at the cost of $39,294.
Yeah, so that pump station was installed in 1996. The isolation valves to the pumps no longer hold. We needed to replace them. There's some concern about how they were spec'd originally, that they're too close to the pump in order to function correctly. In order to do any kind of maintenance work on the station, now we have to shut the entire station off to do any work. So these isolation valves allow us to isolate individual pumps and be able to take that out of service for maintenance. Well, this is water pump station. There's 3 of them. 22nd Street, Orchard Way has one, and then Janet. Janet would be the oldest at 1985.
Motion then.
Gale move to enter an agreement with Dorner Company for the replacement of 8 shut-off valves to the 22nd Street Booster Station at the cost of $39,294.
Zarnecki will second.
Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye?
Sigali, aye.
Okay, number 10, consider a motion to enter into agreement with Concrete and Masonry Restoration LLC to complete the exterior building concrete and sealant repairs at a cost of $27,966.85.
So this project is to repair some of the structural tees, the roof tees on the treatment plant. It's 50 years old. It's starting to fall apart. So we need to get in there and do some maintenance, and that's what this contractor is going to be doing. Likely in the future, we'll see more of this kind of work, I would expect. Tuck pointing, things like that, just doing general building maintenance. This is sort of the start, and it's the worst areas towards the top of the building.
Questions on this all new and refreshed by the time it's done.
Yes.
Motion.
Zarnicki will enter a motion to enter into an agreement with Concrete and Masonry Restoration LLC to complete the exterior building concrete and sealant repairs at a cost of $27,966.85.
Sigali seconds.
Roll call.
Kale, aye.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnicki, aye.
Sigali, aye.
Number 11, consider, enter, to approve utility vouchers in the amount of $535,141,054.
For normal monthly bills.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions or comments that they had after looking at that? Motion?
Marshall will move to approve the utility vouchers in the amount of $535,141.54.
Kale seconds.
All righty, roll call.
Kale, aye.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnicki, aye.
Sigali, aye.
And then, administrative and operations reports.
Just a couple things to highlight on the administrative report. The industrial number is up quite a bit from last year and from the average. And we do know that We Energies was up 33%. They had a leak on property during the last period, so they've been working on
Quite a
that.
leak.
That's quite a leak, yes. Yeah. Yeah, they did have quite a leak out there. And we were getting ready to help them shut down, but the issue is that shuts down the entire property. Is what we can do. And they found a valve on property they were going to try and work on at that point. So we haven't heard anything back yet. But, yeah, it is quite a leak. The rest of the residential, commercial, they're approximately the same thing in wholesale. Engineering, the Drexel Avenue lift station was awarded, but there's a 6-month lead time on materials. So while we're waiting for contracts and that, after that starts sort of the 6-month lead time. Distribution, the only thing I really want to highlight there is we had our competition team, hydrant competition team, Mark Praber and Paul Craig were on that team. They competed in the past. They actually went to nationals last year. This year they took 3rd place in the state competition. They really did quite well there. We also had a women's team this year that we put together. Amy and Melissa were on the team, and then Melissa left. So we quickly filled in our GIS technician, Jenny, and they just killed it. They did a fantastic job. They came in second by only 2 seconds behind Madison, the lead team. We had a little internal competition between the men's and women's team, and the women's team beat the men's team based on time. So we were pretty excited about that for them.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was very exciting for them. And Jenny only having about 2 weeks to prepare for it, did a fantastic job, and both of them are motivated for next year. So that's very exciting. And then Ryan, wanted to mention, Ryan competed in the meter competition where he's assembling a meter as quick as he can. He took 2nd place on that. Yeah, his time was actually the winning time, but he had a penalty. So if you don't have everything tightened, if it leaks, there's all kinds of rules for different penalties. And he happened to get one, so he ended up finishing up 2nd. So, yeah, proud of him for that, for sure. And that's about it.
Good stuff, good information.
Bob, you want more?
Just a couple questions.
Yeah.
So I see the design contract for the underground facilities is going to the council on 19th.
19th, yes, sir.
Does that mean Franklin's on board? We're all good, or what's going on?
We're having really good conversations with them. There's going to be a closed session item on the 19th to discuss that as well.
And then last time we had talked about Elm Road, sanitary and water extensions that is supposed to reach out to PPG first to figure out
Yes.
what we're going to do.
We
Any
did reach out to
update?
them. They're running it up the flagpole. So we've talked to the gentleman that here local. He's part-time now and having trouble getting back and forth, and wow, this is way out of my area, and so they're looking at it. It is big dollars. So, did talk to the gentleman who originally initiated the petition on Elm Road, and at this point, he is kind of done with it. He'd like to move on with his own solution. He's done some grading in his backyard. He feels that's going to help him with the flooding problem that he had. Quite honestly, he wanted the petition pulled. Well, others had signed on board. So what we're going to do is send out a survey letter out to the residents on Elm Road and say, do you still want to move forward with this or not, based on the cost? 'Cause that certainly gave him some caution as well.
All you got? Brad, you got anything? Lisa? Nothing
It's been a
for,
tight meeting, Guzzi, look at that. Over and unders.
nothing for traffic and safety.